Before we begin, I just want to thank you for the support. We're close to 4,000 subscribers and every one of you keeps this channel alive. If these stories speak to you, please consider subscribing. And let me know your thoughts in the comments, it truly means a lot. When I finally pressed play on the footage, the room felt impossibly still, like even the air didn't want to witness what I was about to see. There she was, my wife, walking into our house with another man, laughing softly, touching his arm as if she owned the moment. Watching her move so comfortably through my home, I realized the smile she gave me during those late-night excuses wasn't reassurance at all. It was arrogance. And sitting there in the dark, I didn't yell, didn't crumble, didn't even speak. I just felt this cold, steady clarity settling in. What I uncovered that night changed everything, and I knew she'd never get another chance to lie to my face again that night. When I think back to how we started, it almost feels like a different lifetime. We met years ago, at a small coffee shop where she spilled her drink and laughed at herself, and somehow that moment pulled me in. Back then, she used to rush to the door when I came home, practically throwing her arms around me like she couldn't believe I was hers. We'd stay up late talking about everything we wanted out of life, and she made me feel chosen, valued, seen in a way I didn't even know I needed. I supported her through school, picked up extra shifts so she could chase her passion project, never questioning whether we were on the same team. I never imagined the woman who used to fall asleep on my chest would one day hide her phone from me. Those early years were full of trust, so natural it felt unbreakable. And that's what made the shift hit so hard later. Looking back, the change didn't happen overnight. But once it started, it didn't stop, and a part of me knew something precious was slipping away long before I could admit it aloud, even if I resisted noticing. It started with little things, the kind you almost feel guilty noticing. She began keeping her phone face down on the table, brushing it away whenever I walked by. Then came the sudden late-night workouts, the new coworkers I'd never heard of, the evenings where she slipped out the door. She grew colder, less willing to talk, yet defensive whenever I asked simple questions. I didn't want to seem controlling, so I let it slide, telling myself relationships go through phases. At the time, I thought I was overthinking. I didn't realize those nights were the beginning of something much darker. What unsettled me most was the smile she gave whenever I asked about her late nights. Too smooth, too practiced, as if she'd rehearsed it in the mirror. That smile stuck with me more than any excuse she offered. It became the moment I understood something wasn't just drifting. It was being hidden. And then came the night she didn't come home until 3 a.m., claiming her phone died. That was the moment the unease in my gut hardened into certainty. She walked in at 3 a.m., makeup smudged, hair tangled, and carrying the unmistakable scent of cologne that didn't belong to me. I was sitting on the couch, pretending I hadn't waited up, and when I asked where she'd been, she gave me that flirty, dismissive smile, almost mocking, and said, "Relax. You're acting paranoid." The way she tossed those words out hit harder than anything else. That smile told me she saw me as weak, gullible, someone easy to bend and manipulate. She didn't even bother crafting a believable excuse. She just brushed past me, dropped her bag, and disappeared into the bedroom like I didn't deserve an explanation. Standing there in the quiet, I felt something snap, but not in the way people expect. I didn't yell. I didn't accuse her. I simply decided I wouldn't rely on her words anymore. Whatever was happening, I would uncover it on my own terms. And looking back now, keeping calm was the smartest thing I ever did. Because what I eventually discovered made that night feel like the smallest crack in a much darker truth I had yet to see. I had no idea how deep her deception went until everything unraveled. I pulled back emotionally and switched into a mode that felt almost clinical. I started with the bank statements, noticing late-night food orders clearly meant for two and rideshare receipts that dropped her in neighborhoods she'd never mentioned. Then I saw charges for new lingerie I'd never seen, pieces that didn't fit anything she wore around me. Each detail sharpened the picture. I installed a small security camera in the living room, tucked into a decor shelf so it blended in completely. I never wanted to be that guy sneaking around my own house, but that smile she gave me had pushed me into clarity I couldn't ignore. I set rules for myself. Gather evidence, stay calm, don't confront her until I understood everything. When I finally reviewed the footage, my fears weren't just confirmed, they were exceeded. She walked in with another man like it was routine, touching him, laughing, moving through my home with a confidence that showed she felt untouchable. Watching her act that way didn't break me, it focused me. After seeing that footage, I knew exactly what needed to happen next. In that moment, every doubt I had finally fell silent forever. She was getting ready for another so-called late-night shift when I asked her to sit down for a minute. I kept my voice steady as I pulled up a still image from the footage and turned the screen toward her. The moment her eyes focused, everything about her changed. The confidence vanished, the practiced smile fell apart, and she immediately scrambled for excuses. She moved from denial to irritation, then straight into panic when she realized I wasn't reacting the way she expected. When the begging started, I didn't raise my voice or argue. I simply laid out the facts. I'd already closed our joint accounts, removed myself from every shared bill, spoken with a divorce attorney, and reached out to the man's spouse with all the evidence. The contrast wasn't lost on either of us. She once mocked my concerns, and now she could barely form a sentence. She once dismissed me, and now she was terrified of losing everything she took for granted. I stood up and told her, "You made your choice. I'm making mine that night." Weeks later, I'm living in a quiet apartment that finally feels like mine. I sleep better, eat without knots in my stomach, and breathe in a way I hadn't realized I'd forgotten. Betrayal doesn't break you. It reveals who someone truly was while you were loving them. Leaving her wasn't about revenge. It was about reclaiming the dignity she tried to make me question. The moment she smiled at my concerns, she lost the version of me who trusted her. The camera only confirmed what her eyes had already told me. And if you've ever felt that same shift, stick around. There are more stories worth hearing. Your strength returns the moment you choose yourself again, every single time today.